So my name is Koushik. I'm the marketing lead at Garden. I've been in the crypto space for about 5 years, and in all those 5 years, I've been dealing with Bitcoin interoperability. Um, I always love to start my speech, or whenever I meet someone and they ask me what do you do, I like to give them two numbers. Exactly December last year, everyone in DeFi celebrated that 30% of all crypto activity was coming out of DeFi at December last year. 4 5 years back, it was only 1 or 2% to 5%. And then in the past 4 to 5 years, a lot of applications like Uniswap, 1inch, and ecosystems like Ethereum, Solana worked very hard to push that from 1%, 2%, all the way up to 30%. And that's a great achievement, right? That we've been able to grow this nascent industry where a lot of the activity was happening in centralized places all the way to on chain. Now, put that number on this side, 30%, and then think of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the big daddy, right? The mother of all dragons. It is the asset that started it all. What percentage of Bitcoin activity do you think is captured on chain? Anyone can answer. Just what do you think the number could be? 30%. Okay. Very close. The answer is actually 0.5%. Imagine that, right? We have on one side this crazy boom on DeFi, on the EVM side, where 30% of activity was moved on chain. But on the other side, the biggest asset, the asset that everyone literally thinks about our space as Bitcoin, is just captured 0.5% on chain. And that exactly is the problem we solve. We've been doing Bitcoin interoperability for a really long time. And Garden is our second bridge. Previously, we were working on a project called REM Protocol. It was an SMPC-based bridge, did about $12 billion volume in its lifetime, and then sold to Alameda Research. And then the team went on to start Garden. Garden is a completely trustless, peer-to-peer, decentralized bridge. In design, it's more similar to Binance. It's basically a peer-to-peer swap. We use atomic swaps to enable users to swap assets with solvers across chain. And the difficulty was to actually implement this on Bitcoin, right? Here's an analogy that I give to everyone. Bitcoin was the first ever chain that was created, we all know about, right? It's like a Nokia classic phone, right? It's not programmable, it's not scalable, but like all the memes say, it's super indestructible. And then your Ethereums and your Solanas are like iPhone 17 Pros. They are extremely programmable. You can build all sorts of crazy things on it. But imagine taking a photo on this and then trying to send it to a Nokia Classic. It's extremely difficult. And that's essentially the engineering challenge of building any kind of interoperability systems for Bitcoin. It's like a trilemma. Once you start fixing for one part of the thing, like decentralization or security or scalability, something else suffers. So this was something we've been dealing with for a lot of time. And I think we kind of landed on a solution that solves all of these problems. So we launched about 2 years ago, and so far we've done $2 billion in volume. It is currently the fastest Bitcoin bridge in the market. Interesting stat I want to share is 70% of our volume is actually Bitcoin moving out of the Bitcoin L1 to EVM, non-EVM chains. That's actually beautiful, right? That people are now finding bridging solutions so easier to use or seamless to use that they are actually moving the assets out of their cold wallets to actually go do something on DeFi. I just love that fact. And yeah, that's exactly what we are trying to do for all of the chains, EVM, non-EVM, right? We are trying to add escrow contracts on all the chains possible so that we'll be able to unlock that on all the chains. And we recently supported Solana. We support any person to move their Bitcoin to an asset on Solana in one block time. And if ever they decide to move back the assets back to a native Bitcoin L1, it takes 30 seconds flat. That's the best user experience you can give, where it's extremely seamless for someone to move out of a position. Because that's great, right? When you give someone the option to move out of a position very quickly, that gives them the freedom and that trust to play around more. And that's what we're trying to do on any ecosystem. And I feel actually Solana has the most leverage in this scenario. That's why I decided to give this talk today, is because I don't know how you feel about it, but I've seen and realized that Solana is the most normie friendly chain. And I've seen most of the people in the past few years, when they get onto crypto, it is generally to phantom or meme coins or something on the Solana side of things. Maybe because it's easier to onboard, maybe because they're coming in with small stakes and they want a 10x, 100x real quick. So Solana is this one chain which is so close to the real people or the Web2 market, whatever you want to call it. And injecting a lot of Bitcoin liquidity into it, I feel is like a great leverage move. Because once these people start trading meme coins or whatever on Solana and they make some bank, what do they do next? They convert it into stables and they try to make some LP money on it. Say what you will about stables, they're still depending on some centralized entity, and the value never changes beyond US dollar. But when you compare it to, let's say, Bitcoin, it appreciates over every year historically. And if there are opportunities available for users to do a lot with their Bitcoin on Solana, I think that creates a next level of the user funnel. Once users are onboarded onto Solana through various fund means and they make some bank, it'll give something for them to do with their money. So yeah, that's essentially my thesis. That's what I wanted to share with you people today. And I also wanted to share some work that is being done on by a lot of companies to take Solana very seriously. For example, Xverse recently announced a deal with us where they would like to use Garden to build a Bitcoin to Solana bridge inside the Xverse wallet itself. And we've seen multiple other projects also take this approach. They are seeing some kind of a connection between Bitcoin to Solana, probably because of the Runes ecosystem too. And yeah, I think we will be seeing a lot of Bitcoin liquidity entering into Solana. WBTC recently created their own version of wrap Bitcoin contract on Solana and trying to create some LP opportunities. I think I have about 2.5 minutes left, so I would love to answer any questions if people have. It's a very short time, so I was just going with the flow. So yeah. Why Garden? Okay, I will. I'll tell you the real answer. So, if you've been in the space for a long time, have you heard of WBTC Cafe? Yeah, WBTC Cafe was okay. More information. We were actually the development team behind Wrap Bitcoin when it initially launched. So there used to be a retail version of the website where people can mint Wrap Bitcoin called WBTC Cafe, and WBTC Cafe went offline when REN Protocol, our previous venture, we sold off to Alameda Research. When Alameda went bankrupt, that website ended up shutting down. So when we decided to launch Garden, we realized that there was no bridge in the market at that time doing wrap Bitcoin to Bitcoin swaps on chain. People would have to do KYC and do it on BitGo or do multiple hops across different bridges to get that asset. So we decided, okay, this seems to be like a very niche opportunity. So we launched Garden as wbtc.garden because that was the only domain available at that time. We were trying to find a domain that's like wbtc dot something, and we found wbtc.garden. And we started off. And very fun story, we got our first $800 million of volume just through a single pair. We just did Bitcoin to wrap Bitcoin for 14 months, and we got $800 million of volume from it. That's a lesson in finding a good niche and trying to focus on it. Yeah. Thank you guys. If there's any developers here who are building something for Solana and you want to build something for Bitcoin or you want to support Bitcoin, Garden has very straightforward APIs and SDKs. You can use it to enable Bitcoin on your applications like it was always there. So it'll come up as an option just like any other asset board. and all the bridging is abstracted, and it takes, like I said, 1 block to move from Bitcoin to here, and 30 seconds to move from Solana to Bitcoin. Yeah, thank you.